civilization of ancient Rome was at one time the mightiest on the planet, yet it too, like any other civilization, began as one small settlement. According to the Roman mythology, the founders of Rome were Romulus and Remus. The twin brothers were the supposed sons of the god Mars and the priestess Rhea Silvia. As soon as they were born, her husband abandoned them in a remote location. They were unwanted because Amulius, who feared that the boys would grow up to overthrow him, had them placed in a trough and thrown into the raging waters of the river Tiber. In time, they were found by a she-wolf, who, instead of killing them, looked after them and fed them with her milk. The she-wolf was helped by a woodpecker, who also brought them food. Interestingly enough, both these animals were sacred to Mars. Upon reaching adulthood, Romulus and Remus killed Amulius. They decided to found a town of their own. Romulus and Remus chose the place where the she-wolf had nursed them. Romulus began to build walls on the Palatine Hill, but Remus jeered at them because they were so low. He jumped over them to prove this, and Romulus, in anger, killed him. Romulus continued the building of the new city, naming it Roma after his own name. Its first citizens were outlaws and fugitives to whom Romulus gave the settlement on the Capitoline Hill, and thus the civilization of Rome was founded. The Roman religion began when the Romans came into contact with Greek culture in the 6th century BC, changing the names of their gods to Latin. The classical writers Virgil and Ovid, seen here, gave the names and functions of Roman gods. For example, high hilltops and oak groves were associated with Jupiter, the god of rain, thunder, and lightning. An example of a notable Roman myth is the story of creation, told by Ovid. Before there was earth, or sea, or heaven, there existed only chaos, shapeless, unorganized, lifeless matter. There was opposition in all things. Hot conflicted with cold, wet with dry, heavy with light, and hard with soft. Finally, a god, a natural higher force, resolved this conflict, separating earth from heaven, parting the dry land from the waters, and dividing the clear air from the clouds, thus organizing all things into a balanced union. Thus did the god, whichever god it was, set order to the chaotic mass by separating it into its components, then organizing them into a harmonious whole. Then the god shaped the earth into a great ball, and caused the seas to spread in one direction and the other. The earth he organized into 5 zones, the same number that exists in heaven, which is divided into 2 regions on the right, 2 on the left, and 1 in the center. Beneath the ether and above the earth hangs the hair, where the god formed mist and clouds, placing thunderbolts within the clouds. To each of the 4 winds he assigned limits and purpose. He caused the stars which had been veiled in darkness to shine forth across the sky. Then man was born. Either the god who created this better earth made man from divine seed, or Prometheus from the earth. This new being was made to stand erect, with his eyes directed toward heaven and the stars. And so from order and chaos came order and tranquility. Myths like these with various deities were told in Roman society to explain natural phenomena. And now, to the deities themselves. There are 2 classes of deities in Roman mythology, the dei indigetus, who were native gods, and the dei novensitas, adapted from foreign cultures. The Greeks established the deities through myths, while the Romans concentrated on the complex rituals of each deity. In addition, unlike the gods of the Greeks, the Roman gods were not considered to function in the manner of mortals. The god of war, Mars, was one of the most prominent and worshipped gods. Mars is portrayed as a warrior in full battle armor, wearing a crested helmet and bearing a shield. His sacred animals are the wolf and the woodpecker, and the month of March was named after him. Vulcan was the Roman god of fire, especially destructive fire and craftsmanship. His forge is located beneath Mount Etna. It is here that he, together with his helpers, forged weapons for gods and heroes alike. Bacchus was the Roman god of wine and intoxication, equated with Dionysus. The Bacchanalia, orgies in honor of Dionysus, were introduced in Rome around 200 BC, but were outlawed in 186 BC. Apollo was the god of music and also of prophecy, colonization, medicine, archery, poetry, dance, intellectual inquiry, and the caretaker of herds and flocks. He was also a god of light, and his most famous symbol is a tripod, symbolic of prophetic powers. Neptune was the god of the sea. Among the Romans, he was more popular as the god and patron of horse racing and horses. Jupiter was the supreme god of the Roman pantheon, called Dies Pater, Shining Father. He is the god of light and sky and protector of the state and its laws. His temple was the center of political life. Jupiter was especially known for his wicked thunderbolt. Diana was the Roman goddess of nature, fertility, and childbirth, and is also the moon goddess. She is closely identified with the Greek goddess Artemis. She was especially known for her prowess with the bow and arrow. Venus was the Roman goddess of love and beauty, but originally a vegetation goddess and patroness of gardens and vineyards. All the other goddesses envied her for her beauty. Ceres was the old Italian goddess of agriculture, grain, and the love a mother bears for her child. The word cereal comes from her name. Minerva was the Roman goddess of wisdom, medicine, the arts, dyeing, science, and trade, but also of war. As Minerva Medica, she is the patroness of physicians. She was also believed to have been the inventor of numbers and instruments. And thus, the gods and goddesses played a key role in the Roman Empire. Although it is said that the Romans did not have a complex religion, the pagan religion of theirs continues to stir our imaginations today.